What is going on, Skol family? I'm Kyle.
I'm Darin.
And I'm Keith.
And this is the Purple Dopes with Hopes podcast. Welcome in, Purple Dope fans. You are listening to the Purple Dopes with Hopes podcast. We are part of the Let's Skol network. If you are finding us on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure, click subscribe to the Purple Dopes with Hopes. Over 200. We are just continuing to soar when it comes to the YouTube numbers. Watch out, YouTube. Monetization coming soon. Anyways, also, if you're following us on our podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, please make sure follow along. And then, of course, rate and review. Darin, we got 3 brand new reviews this week
Awesome.
on our podcast. So that's pretty cool. So people actually shouting us out, saying the things that they enjoy and appreciate. One of those is not even a Vikings fan. They just said that they appreciate what we do as fans and the loyalty that we have. So apparently they just like listening to hopeless dopes talking about football teams that they think will actually win. So
yeah.
Anyways, this week we are continuing our Straight Skol series where we are bringing in different Vikings content creators. And this week we are bringing in the founder of the Let's Skol network that the Purple Dopes are a part of. He's also got Let's Skol on YouTube. I'll make sure to link the channel in the description. TikTok, Twitter, or X, and Instagram. Our good friend Keith, one of the members of the Let's Skol crew. How are you doing, man?
Good. Actually happy to be here with you guys. It's been really cool watching your guys' journey, in just a short amount of time, the improvements you guys have made to the show. And I can understand why your following is growing and why you got people leaving you good reviews. And make no mistake, like 3 reviews, that's good. It's hard to get people to actually take the time to do that. So if people are writing reviews, that means you're doing something right. So awesome.
One of them was my mom and one of them was Darin's mom. So
you don't have to say that part. Part.
Yes. Skol mom and Purple
right.
not our mom. So anyways, man, when we bring people on here, really it's just about the conversation. We want to learn more about you, learn more about your platform, and then, of course, talk about our favorite team that always disappoints us, the Minnesota Vikings. So we want to kick it off. Just give us a little picture of how you became a fan of the Minnesota Vikings.
This is a story that I love and hate telling because it's unique in a way, but it's also kind of dumb. But I live in California. I've lived in California all my life. I was born here. So was my father. And my father's the one who got me into being a Vikings fan since the day I was born. I was born into it in California. Now, the dumb part is how he became a Vikings fan. He was like 10 years old, didn't have a football team. But in school, they had flag football teams, and his football team ended up being called the Vikings. So nice. He started following the Vikings, and that became his team that he loved. And he ended up becoming a diehard. So when I was born, that's what I was born into. And he tells me that, I don't remember my grandpa really being a football fan, but he told me that he was a Rams fan. I'm like, Dad, we could have a Super Bowl. We could have 2 Super Bowls.
We could have 2.
Like, why couldn't your team name be the Patriots or something? Like, we could have Super Bowls. No, you got the Vikings. I was destined for this.
Of all the teams for him to get placed was it an actual, like, the Minnesota Vikings was his team, or was it just a team, like, name was the Vikings?
I think just all the teams they had were just named after football teams.
Oh, gotcha.
It was just like a flag football thing for school. So it was just my luck to be here. But, I've come to accept it. And when they do finally win that Super Bowl, be a part of the first one.
Oh, man. It's going to feel so good because it's coming.
It has to, right?
Right. I'm sure that's what your dad says. And Darin, we know both our dads say that because that's why we're Vikings fans. It's got to come. It's got to come. You talk to a guy like Jason Harmon, who we had a couple weeks ago, just before I die. That's all we need.
Exactly.
Before we die. So,
do you guys ever wonder, though, like, if we were to win it, does that kind of take some of, like, the mystique away from all this that we've been into, like, chasing that one? And I've kind of adopted this never won a Super Bowl like mantra. Like,
right.
Do you guys wonder, like, if it does happen, like, some of the lust
might
go away?
It's like the dog catching the car, right? It's like, what do we do? Like, we're Super Bowl champs. Like, how would I live my life the next day?
So here's the deal, Keith. I didn't realize we were going to go there today, but you just kind of rocked my world a little bit. Like, what will I do if a Super Bowl trophy ends up in our hands? I don't know. This is like
my hands.
Exactly. Like, what do we do? We have nothing. But I mean, I'm sure other teams have figured out how to, continue to cheer on their teams.
Have you ever talked to another fan about that? Because what I've heard is I've actually asked other fans who have won Super Bowls, and they're like, no. Like once you win one, it's like you want to win more. It's like you
because
can
they
never
spend their whole life chasing that Super Bowl. Talking, between us, it's been 20, 30, 40 years. Like, like they might have been fans for like 10 years and then they won one. Okay, now let's get another one. No, man, I've been chasing this thing for 40 years. Got it.
That's fair.
I'm gonna go spend time with my family now. Like, I'm not doing this anymore.
No need to watch the games. Got what I came for.
It will be nice in that moment when it happens, because it's gonna happen, to be at least be able to like throw something back at the cheeseheads who always come back with, well, at least we have a Super Bowl trophy in our team, team room. And I'm like, oh, what do you say? So the fact that we'll have something to combat them with, that's okay with me. And then if we get more,
you were in diapers. That's what I tell them. It's like I hate the people that claim a Super Bowl that they weren't even born yet, cognizant of. Like, you don't get to claim that. Like Raiders fans that claim a Super Bowl, or even Cowboys fans, like you weren't even there for it. You don't get to claim it.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Keith, you've kind of created this Let's Skol network that we are a part of as the Purple Dopes. I just kind of want to hear a little bit, like, what's the thought behind Let's Skol? Kind of what's your vision for it? Like, what are you hoping it becomes?
So Let's Skol, first of all, it is my podcast that I have with Cody, Shaq, and Fish, and that kind of just started out as a way to vent after games, and that was like just a Facebook Live. We get on after the games and kind of vent, and it did wonders for like our anger and our frustration. So we kept going, it kept progressing, and then we started doing it on YouTube, and finally became a show, and we were seeing some growth, but I was just like trying to find ways to make it grow more. And then as I was doing that, I was like looking at other podcasts, and I was seeing like, man, I really like what they're doing, but I feel like maybe they're not getting enough eyes on them. And maybe I could help them get eyes on them, and maybe in turn they can help get eyes on us. So basically, I just wanted to create a network where we're basically helping each other grow. And I just hope it's something that ends up beneficial to both parties. And, that's my goal. I don't just want you guys claiming Let's Skol and I don't do anything for you. Like, I want to be beneficial, and letskol.com is coming soon. And that's where you're going to be able to find all the Let's Skol network programs.
Yeah, awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I love the idea of the network. And I think that's what's been really cool for us, is that, connecting with you guys and your crew, but also it's kind of opened up other connections with the Vikings community, which it's a pretty unique content creating community that we have in the Vikings fandom. So
it's a strong one. It's a very strong one. Like cool. we do Skoling with the Enemy, which is where on Thursday nights we bring on fans of the other team that we're playing that Sunday. And some teams it's kind of hard to find, podcasters for that team. Yeah. Like, I guarantee you, if anyone was trying to find Vikings, they can find us. Like, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Well, let's get a little bit into like specifics when it comes to Vikings. And you think about like your Vikings fandom, which it sounds like your fandom started when you were born, like ours. What was like your favorite Vikings moment? Like, if you were to think of like the best Vikings story that you have to tell, could be a game that you got to be a part of, could be a just, spectator of it. Like, what would you say is your best Vikings moment?
Well, being that I'm not from Minnesota, I don't get to give the cliche answer of I was at the Miracle, because I wasn't. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I've actually ever told this part, and this is not my favorite. I'll get to that. But during the Miracle, I was outside praying, and you know what? Like, I'm not that much into faith. Like, I'm getting there, but I was out there praying. I was like, just let this happen. I don't care if I see it or don't see it. And my buddy came out to console me and everything, and he's looking through the window. He's like, he caught it. I was like, what? I ran into the house, and right before Diggs went into the end zone, I was in the, oh my God, and waiting for a flag, no flag. Oh my gosh. And I started going crazy. So, I mean, as far as watching the game, that was probably like one of the things I'll remember forever. My kids will remember forever, because they started jumping up and down into it.
Let me ask you this though. In your prayer, was there any bargaining? Like, do you owe God something now?
Yeah.
Well, Keith hasn't missed a Sunday service since, Darin.
Yeah,
He's been in church every single Sunday since the Miracle. So
almost.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite stories is I have been to a couple games in Minnesota, and in 1999, I did get to go to the Metrodome and watch a game with my dad. It was in November of '99, which was the year after '98 season. We had
Oh,
Jeff
yeah.
George as our quarterback. And, you know, that was my first time in Minnesota, and the game was cool. But the thing is, I went all the way from California to Minnesota to watch them play the San Diego Chargers. So like that's always the funny part to me. And we ended up winning that game. It was a very fun game. We scored like 35 points. So there was a lot of action in there. And Jim Marshall ended up getting part of the Ring of Honor that game. So I got to see that. And then after the game was over, me and my dad, we didn't want to leave. So like we were like two of the last people to leave. And we ended up walking down as far as we could. And we got down to the railings. And my dad's down there like trying to talk to people. Can we just go down and touch the end zone?
Nice.
Yeah.
And of course they're like, no, we actually have people who pay to do that. And we're like, oh man. And all of a sudden these people come walking towards us, and there's this one big old dude. It was Jim Marshall.
Nice.
And he came and he shook our hands and talked to us for a minute. And dude, he shook my whole arm, dude. The dude got some paws. But I actually got to meet Jim Marshall and shake his hand and talk to him for a minute. So that was cool. It was a very cool first experience going to Minnesota.
Oof, legend. That's great.
So now every game you went to after that, you know, as a kid, you're like, what Hall of Famer do I get to meet at this point?
We're the legends to shake my hand.
Come on, guys, let's go to the railing. They're going to come right up to us.
Yeah. It's funny because this 2 years ago, I got to take my dad to a game in Minneapolis, and we got to go on the field before the game. Just a crazy story of just continuing to walk through doors, and they continue to open up, and here we are on the field. But my boys, I got 3 boys, they saw that, you know, happen. I was sending them pictures and I tell them stories. And so I took them to the Seahawks Vikings game in Seattle this past season, and they expected to get on the field. They're like, Dad, where do we go? Like, which way do we go to get on the field? Like, we want to go talk to the players. I'm like, yeah, unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that in every game and every situation. So,
was that the first game you took them to?
Yeah, don't remind me there, Keith.
Well, hold on. I got a similarity with you. Like, first of all, are they ever going to want to go to a Viking game again?
Oh yeah, they're in. Okay. They love it.
Okay, because I took my daughters to their first Viking game this year, and that was the Thursday night game against the Chargers. That's a tough sell.
Yeah.
Yep. Yikes. No, I got it. Well, the hard part for me is like I took them. We're in Washington. So we get the Seahawks fandom around us. So they do kind of split their fandom a little bit. But then the Seahawks go and win the Super Bowl. And it's like, gosh, dang it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like,
you didn't have to worry about the Chargers doing that. But I mean, the Rams did win it a few years
Not
back.
only did they give us our first shutout since the 2000s, they also went and won the Super Bowl. So it's like, golly, guys, come on.
With our quarterback.
Not only were we shut out, but it was such a terrible game, too.
Yeah. It wasn't even a fun game to watch. Unfortunately, the games that I went to, I've been to 2 regular season games in Seattle, and the Vikings haven't scored a touchdown in either of those games. So the other one, I went to 2 field goals. So yeah, it's been a rough.
So if they're in Seattle,
you're
clear.
Yeah, I'm not going to the Seahawks games.
I went to the Chargers game, and I went to the home opener against the Falcons, and those games weren't any good this year.
Yeah, that's rough.
Man, you and me just stay away. Darin, I
had a few good ones. We were on, I mean, offensively it was brutal, but the Christmas Day game, our defense came to play, man. That was super fun.
Oh, for sure.
Out on the field that game.
Like 5 turnovers. That's fun. Turnovers are fun. A turnover. That's more fun than a touchdown.
And sacks and the
sudden change. Yeah, that's more fun.
Yeah, sure. And we got on the field that game too. So I had my whole family, well, not whole family, but I think there's like 8 or 9 of us went to the game. And so some random guy just gave us a field pass. So I had 2 of them. So we were kind of taking turns walking up and down the steps to get on the field. Super fun.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, Keith, you've been a Vikings fan your whole life, much like Darin and I. I'm guessing we're probably similar as far as times that we grew up in our fandom. I want to know, what player do you most associate with your childhood fandom of the Minnesota Vikings?
This one's always a tough one for me because it's definitely not just one. So I'm going to name all 3 because I have to.
Okay.
It's Chris Carter, John Randall, and Chris Dolman. Those are the 3 for me that just stick out like a sore thumb. And a cool thing about Chris Carter is like, Kyle, I know you're into cards, and I don't know if they still do it, but in Beckett, they used to put the addresses of all the teams where you could send your cards to them. And I sent a card to Chris Carter, and it came back signed. That's when I was real young. So I still have that somewhere here in my garage. But yeah,
that's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have an autograph of Chris Carter that someone else had sent in and got. So it's an in-person autograph. But yeah, it's cool to have those, man. That's yeah. Darin, who would you say?
What's up?
Who would you say your player that you most associate with your childhood would be?
Childhood would be Carter for sure, just because Moss came in. I must have been 13 when we drafted Randy Moss, so. I came in, you're not quite a child back then, but so I'd say Carter probably aligns that, or I was a big Quadri Ishmael guy too.
Oh, let's go.
The missile.
The missile, yeah.
I like the Carter brothers, Anthony Carter, Chris Carter. Those are the two that I think back. Those are the names that come to mind. I remember being a big Chris Carter fan. He was the
Anthony Carter jersey.
There
sick.
It is.
That's a sick one.
I thought that was a Chris Carter jersey when I first saw it. So man, shout out.
AC.
But, Chris Carter, I just, he was always, he was number one. He was the first jersey that I ever got of any team. But just a standout guy, a guy that you definitely wanted to root for. Hands could not drop anything. And it just super fun to be a fan of. I remember when I was, we used to do these little games, three-legged races or whatever, and I'd always get with my buddy. He was a Lions fan, and I was a Vikings fan. And our three-legged race, our thing was Sanders Carter. That's how I got our steps in. So yeah.
Lions and a Viking fan, a couple of losers just found each other.
Yeah, dude, what are we doing? And we're in the middle of Podunk, Washington State, in these little towns in the southern.
Still had two of the greatest players of the era on our team.
No kidding, right?
Isn't that wild? What are we doing? All right. Well, let's fast forward a little bit to today's Viking fandom. And I know you and your crew, man, you get on every week and talk about this team. So let's just have a little banter about where we think this team's currently at. And we just got to rip the Band-Aid off to start because it's the only thing we got in the news right now when it comes to Vikings fandom. The quarterback situation. Is J.J. McCarthy still your guy?
My guy, yes. The Vikings guy, I'm not so sure right now. It really depends what you want to believe. Being more involved in doing the podcasts, I've learned you can't believe everything you hear. Before, when I hear stuff in the media, it's like, oh my gosh, that's what's going on. And that's not necessarily true. You're hearing, oh, they want to replace him right now. They're going to bring in a quarterback, a starter, and, JJ's going to be the backup. They might get rid of him. And I don't necessarily buy that. I do think they might want to bring in some competition. But yes, I would say JJ's still my guy, even if he has to sit down in another year. He's just turned 23. So I'm okay with that. They go the Jordan Love route. But yes, he's still my guy. Almost wore that jersey today.
Darin, what are your thoughts still, man? I know you've been on the JJ train from the beginning.
I'm still buying stock, man. Again, I'm good. If they want to make a big splash move, and again, I don't think Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, I don't think they're actually available. But assuming they were, and we were able to make a splash like that, I'd be excited.
Sure.
Yeah.
Bringing in someone else that is available doesn't excite me, especially if we have to trade. I don't want to give up any draft capital for anyone. And then bring in Cousins. What does that do for me? Nothing. So I would say JJ still seems like the best option that's actually feasible for the team right now.
Yeah, without having
don't forget what he did at the end of the year. He looked pretty good.
For sure. And so the progression of JJ, was in the positive. And I think that's what we said, going into the end of the season when we were, not able to make the playoffs anymore. Basically, we just wanted to see that growth from JJ. Unfortunately, he gets the injury at the end of the year, which raises a lot of questions from Vikings fans as well. Is this guy going to have the longevity that we want? But I don't know, got a full off season. He's not coming off a serious injury at this point. It's just the off season will be, recovery, and then obviously get into the works with his wide receivers and his quarterback coach. So I don't know. I'm still very hopeful that JJ McCarthy is going to be our starting quarterback next season. I like what you said, Keith. I think we do need to have some competition in there for him. But I think we saw a lot of what the kids got there in those last 5 games when we went on that 5-game winning streak. Our defense was playing super good in those last 5 weeks. So,
which is funny. A lot of people like to give credit to our defense for those last 5 games, but when you try to give credit to what JJ McCarthy did, they're like, "Well, look at the teams we played."
Yeah, exactly.
They don't say that when they're crediting the defense and patting the defense on the back. And I also think this fan base kind of forgets. JJ McCarthy was basically a rookie kind of dealt an unfair, tough hand as a young quarterback. Like, it's like the fans expected him to come in and be polished like a Kirk Cousins or something like that, and not expect to have to go through some bumps. And yes, the bumps were ugly, but you got to go through those.
Yeah, and that's how you grow as a player. And yeah, again, he looked the part at the end of the season. Like, he was hitting guys. For whatever reason, him and JJ could never find the rhythm, right? You know, if you put the ball on the money, JJ was dropping it. But I don't know. I think if he gets another offseason working with the wideouts, he's going to come in next year throwing darts.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the stuff that's coming out the last week on how he wasn't making any looks to the middle? Like, all his reads were supposed to be the sideline. The playbook was basically being dumbed down to the lowest degree for him.
I'm not really putting much stock into that because that's just based off, someone's analytics and not based off anything that they've heard or talked to. And I've also seen some stats where they show JJ McCarthy's attempts between the numbers, and it's been a consistent 7 to 8 attempts throughout the whole season. There were 2 outlier games, and one being the Ravens game, but he threw it 40 times, so there's a little more there. But it's a pretty consistent 7 to 8 throws over the middle, and the completion percentage was actually higher than outside the numbers. So I don't know. I forgot what the publication was that put that out, but that was their analytics and not actually the statistics. So I don't know what they're measuring that off of. So I'm not putting too much stock into that.
Interesting. Let me ask you this, Keith. Going back to what you said about bringing in competition, what's your ideal situation then? If we bring in a quarterback for competition, like, who do you want to see sign for the Vikings?
I'm gonna be honest; it's ugly out there as far as free agents. Like we went through them, and I almost feel like it's a win now thing. So you almost got to go with the guy that you actually think could win it. So for competition, I would actually like Russell Wilson because I think he'll come in. He's not going to come in and be the mentor. Like, he's going to come in like, I'm trying to keep my career alive. I'm coming in to beat this kid out. And I do think there's a chance that JJ could beat him out. But if you can't beat him out, then you're not ready to play. If we're going for the 1-year guy and, JJ McCarthy still needs to let the concrete dry, then I didn't like the guy here. I would be okay with Kirk Cousins coming back for a season. But I don't think that that's necessarily competition. I think they bring him in. He's in for the starter. So if you're saying for competition, I'd bring Russell Wilson in to challenge him.
I like that, actually. That's one I hadn't really considered. But to your point, if he beats him out, you know that JJ still needs more time to learn. So interesting take.
A lot of people like to see like the young guys like Anthony Richardson or Mac Jones. Like, those guys really haven't proven anything either. So you're really just bringing in 2 unproven guys to see which one could be better. And I just rather work with the guy that we have here than if that's the case.
The Richardson one intrigues me just because of his physical tools. Like, that guy's a beast. But to your point, you're just putting 2 unproven guys out there and seeing who does what. So it's more of a risky option, but that one would be super intriguing to me.
If we're talking, like you said, the gap year of another year from McCarthy, to me, it seems like Cousins is the logical choice. Assuming Kirk will have some sort of, which we know he won't, because he's going to get paid his money.
We're going to have to find $50 million to pay him.
He's a financial genius. His agent is the best agent in the history of the NFL. But it just seems like if we look, going into the offseason, like, JJ may need another year. Cousins seems like the logical choice just because he's been in the system. He's been with the offense. He knows KOC. He knows Jefferson. Like, he's got those connections, those relationships already in Minnesota. So as I've been hearing it, like, at first I was like, nah, not Kirk. But as I thought about it, it's like, if we need a year here for JJ, why not have a guy who can come in and get plugged in quick without having to relearn or relearn another offense that he's not already familiar with.
And he could do what KOC wants a quarterback to do. He wants a strong in the pocket quarterback that can launch the ball and is accurate. And if you like Kirk or you don't like Kirk, those are things that he could do. So he'll be able to come in and run the offense that KOC wants to run without him having to dumb anything down or switch anything. He'll get to do what he wants to do. And it makes sense if KOC is on the hot seat and he's coaching this year to save his job. He might not feel like, all right, let's keep developing this guy. He's like, I need to save my job, and we'll work with him behind the scenes.
I still don't know if that's really the case this year. I think
I don't think he's on the hot seat. I don't.
I think at best it's warm, but like I don't think he's coaching for his job this year.
Yeah, and I've said like I don't think like there's a set that he has to be like he has to make the playoffs or he has to win a playoff game. I think it's more about how the season ends up looking than the actual results. But I really don't think his seat is as hot as a lot of people do.
100%, and especially at this point in the off season where we still got free agency, we got the draft. Like once we figure out what the makeup of the team looks like, then I think we can at least start looking at what should the Vikings do next year.
So then what's the measure for KOC next year as far as moving forward with him as the coach of the Vikings? If you said it wasn't a playoff win, if it's not the Super Bowl, like what's your measuring stick here for our head coach?
I said it's kind of just how does it look? Like, are we looking competent? Are we going out there and competing? I don't think that we necessarily have the best roster right now, and it's a pretty old roster. Like we are older than 5 years ago when Kwesi and KOC took over, when they were supposed to come and rebuild this thing and get younger. We got older.
Yeah.
So like we're not necessarily dealing with the greatest roster. And look at the quarterback play that we had last year, and we're still 54 seconds away from possibly winning the division if we don't choke on that kickoff against the Bears. So I think you just you more look at the job that he's doing and not necessarily the results. Now, if they go and win 4 games, okay, that's totally different. Like it could go wrong that way. But if they go and they're competing until the last game of the season and it looks good, there's not having no issues, the locker room's good, I think it'll be okay. Now, could he end up getting put on a hot seat if he doesn't go to the playoffs or win a game? Sure. I just don't think he's there yet.
Yeah. Let me go on a tangent real quick because I'm pro KOC. Everyone knows who listens to the pod. Look at the years that KOC's coached us. First year, 13 wins, first round playoff loss, but historically terrible defense. Like so, offense had to do everything.
They were so bad,
so bad. Second year, you lose your quarterback.
Yeah.
Third year, you win 14 games, but still somehow don't win the division because the Lions win 15. Like unreal. And then again, last year with the quarterback play we had, we still win 9 games. Like I think KOC's done a hell of a job as the coach.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd like to see more playoff success, but when you win 14 games and you still have to go on the road as a playoff team, like that's pretty brutal.
That's true.
Yeah, this fandom's just so hungry that like they can't see through the fog. Like it's just you're not winning playoff games, and I'm mad. Like it's your fault. But it's like, have we really had a playoff roster? Like,
and then the reality
to deal with, and he's like the winningest coach in the first 5 years of anybody in our history. Like, there's something there, guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, who else are you going to hire? Like, okay, we're going to fire KOC. To hire who? Like, and I know there's always like
even though no one else can hire him, we can. I don't think that the Vikings would. I don't think the Vikings would because I think there's some kind of agreement whether he's not going to get a head coaching job.
Yeah, it sure seems like it after the job he's done running our defense.
Just because he's a great defensive coordinator does not mean he's a head coach. Like, and that's the thing that I think people need to understand too. There's a lot of great coordinators that don't make it as a head coach, and that's fine. They're great where they're at.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we've seen it with offensive coordinators as well. You know, they just there's a transition just isn't there when it comes to the head coach. I'm interested. You really think that there's some sort of behind the scenes banter or conversations going on that Flores cannot get a head coaching job? I mean, it would make sense based on the fact that he hasn't got one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you can't, but I do think there's worry about it. I do think there's talk about it, and there is worry. There's a schism for sure.
A little bit of an unwritten like, hey, we just can't do it. Yeah, it makes sense.
Then, I mean, on top of the lawsuit, which he's going to win, and it's going to pave the path for other people, and that is awesome. Yeah. He's had issues with his players. Like, he doesn't have any players that come out and really stick up for him and saying this guy could be a head coach. He's had the negative, and then you even had Mike Pettin. Think what you want about him or not, but he didn't have flattering things to say about him either. So it could be that he doesn't even interview well. Yeah, if it's not the schism, but I do think there is one.
Oh, well, let's round it out here, and I just want to kind of look forward to the next season for the Vikings. Do you think this team that we have can be a contender in the 2026 season?
So It really depends on what day you ask me this question, how I feel about it.
Well, we're talking February
Today?
22nd, 2026.
Well, Team USA just won the gold medal in hockey, so I'm feeling pretty positive.
Fair enough.
And I'm gonna say yes. And if they're gonna do that, I think that they actually need to run back the roster as much as possible that they had last year. All they needed was a little bit better quarterback play. Our defense was right up there with Seattle. So like if the defense could be kept together, maybe throw a cornerback in there, hopefully through the draft.
Yep.
And we get good quarterback play. I absolutely think we can. I do think we need to keep Hawkinson, which at first I was like, okay, he's too much money. We need to get rid of him and bring someone in. I think they need to find a way to either have him take a pay cut or restructure. Yes. But run it back as much as possible. It's a weak free agent class. Don't go throwing money at players just because you feel we need to sign new guys. Let's keep what we had together as much as possible. We have some continuity. We have an offensive line that's going to be healthy, hopefully. Keep it together, and I think we'll be competing.
Yeah. The one free agent that intrigues me that I've actually seen linked to the Vikings is Nakobe Dean from the Eagles. Just bringing in another linebacker. He's good at rushing the passer, which obviously that's a big thing in Florida's defense. But I agree with you. Outside of that, you don't need help on the offensive line via free agency. And
Dean's an interesting one.
Look in the draft.
Dean's an interesting one. Like if they don't bring back Eric Wilson and Ivan Pace, and then bring in a younger guy that can pass rush the quarterback, I'd be interested in that. We're actually going to talk defensive tackles and linebackers this Thursday.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. All right. Right on.
Yeah, but I've seen in the draft, like I've seen the Hawkinson one's interesting because I've seen us tied to that Oregon tight end in the draft.
Yeah, Sadiq.
So that would be, again, super interesting. I'd be thrilled with that. I like Hawkinson, but to your point, I think he would have to take a pay cut. If he takes a pay cut, then I'm fine keeping him around.
Yeah, I would like to build our defense in the draft. So I like Sadiq. He'd be an awesome talent. It's just taking him at 18 now. I kind of be bummed, because we need some secondary help. So what about you, Kyle? What about you, Kyle? How you feeling about the season upcoming?
Dude, I'm a purple dope with hope, man. Every year is our year, man. I feel like we are making the right moves right now. I think as long as we have a solid quarterback play, we are definitely in the talks of winning the NFC North and making a Super Bowl run. I think this team has the pieces. We have the leadership. I think, moving on from Kwesi, I was not super thrilled because I was a kind of a Kwesi supporter, but I also understood that someone had to go. And I do like the idea of KOC. After hearing all the stuff coming out, I do like the idea of KOC and Flores kind of being the ones steering the ship when it comes to the draft. Not hiring a general manager right now, bringing in somebody from the inside. I think it's really their year to really show Vikings fans that they can lead us to contention, if not a Super Bowl.
Yeah, sink or swim, and it's on them. Like, absolutely, you want your seat hot or you don't want your seat hot, is really going to be up to you. The only concern I have about not having a GM, which I just said I don't want us to go out there signing free agents, so probably not a big deal, but like, how does a free agent feel about coming and signing with a team that doesn't have a GM, and then all of a sudden you get a GM in there and like, well, I'm not his guy, and he can go ahead and get rid of me now. So like, it's kind of weird, but maybe they don't plan to do a lot in free agency. Like I'm saying, maybe they're just planning on keeping it together as much as possible. They have at least 8 draft picks. It could be more once we get the comps, and they got to nail those.
Yeah. Especially those first 3-4 rounds. I mean, you got to get starters.
Got to nail them.
Or guys that play significant time.
Well, do you think of the GM role? Like, do you think the hopes from the Wilps is – give me the guys – Darin, remind me of the guy's name that they brought in. Tom –
yeah, the Seattle guy.
Oh, the other money guy.
Yeah.
Like my hopes is that those two guys will be – one of those guys will be the person they put in the GM spot. I mean, is my thought. But you never know, especially when it comes to the Wilfs, man. They seem to surprise us every single season with some of the things that they do. So,
but they want to win.
Looking at assistant GMs from teams like, the Seahawks and the Eagles, the Rams, guys who have been part of organizations that have been successful in the drafts and are always in playoff contention. I want one of those guys. Like the Seahawks have one that I'm very interested in. He's been with the team for over 10 years, and he's been in a high role and part of the drafting, and 2-time Super Bowl champion now. Like, give me some of that pedigree.
Well, and that was Kwesi's downfall, right? Was the draft. Like we need a guy that can scout and hit on draft picks.
Mhm.
Because otherwise you don't do that.
Not looking at PFF and be like, oh, he's got a good PFF.
Yeah.
Well, Keith, we always like to finish off our Purple Dopes with Hopes episodes with our Purple Dope Hopes. These are brought to you by 612Tees, great Minnesota-based apparel company. Use Purple Dopes 25. You get 25% off your first order. And we're going to throw the Purple Dope Hope to you this week. When you're thinking about this team moving forward in the offseason, moving forward into next season, what hopes do you have in your heart for the Minnesota Vikings?
I hope that JJ McCarthy is a starter and not just given to him. I hope he goes out there and he proves it. And I want them to bring in somebody that they feel confident in being the starting quarterback, like a Russell Wilson. And I want JJ McCarthy to beat him out and be that starter week 1 and show that he can be our franchise quarterback. I think that's going to go a long way to us being successful this season and beyond. Like, I have not lost faith that he could be our franchise quarterback. So my hope is JJ McCarthy proves it this year.
Love it.
All right. You heard it here, Purple Dopers, from the Let's Skol man himself. JJ McCarthy, quarterback 1 in the next season. I love it, man. All right, Keith. Well, we always like to give our guests the opportunity, share out, where we can find you, when you post videos, when you go live, all that fun stuff. Please feel free, man. Just share out anything you can about Let's Skol.
Well, obviously you can find us on YouTube, and I'm sure Kyle will have that link down there in the bottom. And you can find us by searching us on TikTok, Let's Skol. That's probably the 2 places where most prevalent is on TikTok and on YouTube. And we go live every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and we go live for about 2 hours. And then we also go live after every game when there is a game. And I just want to thank you guys, because when I first, threw out that bait of I want to start a Let's Skol network, you guys were the first ones to jump in on that. And I'm really glad you guys did. You guys, were a great find. You guys, are a great show. And like I said, I see you guys growing every week, and I'm glad you're a part of it. I'm glad to be a part of you guys.
Yeah.
I'm an honorary dope.
Absolutely. I mean, really,
love it. Well,
fan, you're kind of a dope, right? But
we're all dopes in the end, Vikings fans.
That's right.
Well, yes, I will make sure to link everything in the description of the video on YouTube, as well as I will throw some of the links on the podcast as well. If you're finding us on YouTube, maybe you came over from Keith and the Boys channel, please subscribe to our channel. We'd love to keep connecting with more Vikings fans and more Vikings creators. And then, of course, follow us along on the podcast platforms and give us those ratings and reviews. We love those coming in. Darin and I only got one mom and one dad, so we got to keep those. We got to keep those ratings coming in, reviews coming in. So shout out to you guys for taking time to review. We appreciate it. So, all right, Vikings fans and any other fans tuning in from other teams and other places in the world. Maybe you're coming in because the USA beat Canada today, and we're just excited to celebrate that. So Team USA all the way. Always remember, friends, we Skol, you Skol, we all Skol together. We'll catch you guys next week.
Skol.
Let's go.